All right, what's going on, everyone? My name is Kaotonix, and in this video I'm going to show you how I made Hope, song 8 out of 52 of the Rust experiment in 2021. All right, so let's see here. This is my song, and this entire song is based around a sample that I made a while ago, and the sample itself was called Hope, and it sounds like this. All right, sounds great, love it. I don't even remember when I made it. I probably have it in the info here, but this is one of my side hobbies. Apart from making music, I like making samples. So this Wonderworld sound kit is a sound kit of a bunch of samples that I made, and because I'm making so many of them, I don't save the project files. So sometimes I don't even remember what instruments I used, but in the long run, it's my own. I used synths and VSTs to make them, so it's not really important that, that I have the original MIDI files and things like that. But, I can show you this is the original one here. I have other ones that I've made. Etc. So yeah, so I make those. It's called the Wonderworld Sound Kit. I might make that available one day, but at this point right now it's just my own, my own samples that I pull from, and I like making samples. They're pretty fun. And as you can see, you can make full songs out of these samples. You don't have to do a lot to them. If the samples are pretty sick from the beginning when you make them, I didn't do anything to the sample. Excuse me. I didn't change it at all. So the song starts out, apart from that, with this. So a lot of these instruments are from a Dr. Dre DrumKit that let's see. I don't even remember when I got it. It's been so long. But that's why it kind of has that like West Coast bounce type of feel, because a lot of the samples are from Dr. Dre. I don't know if they're like legit Dr. Dre samples, but some people just kind of put these together and call them a drum kit from Dr. Dre. Okay, so in the beginning here we have this. So some chimes. Okay, so we got some kicks here. And the kick is, I don't think it's processed or anything. I mean, some of these kicks, some of these samples, if the samples are good by themselves, they sound nice. You don't have to EQ them. You don't have to compress them. It's unnecessary to compress and EQ samples that are already good. There's also this, which I pitched down and added a reverb on. So this is what it sounds dry. That's it. But then if I pitch it down and then I put a reverb on it, sounds like that. So, well, it's pitched up a little bit here. And then of course it's my mom's signature, "Cow, you suck." She doesn't actually think my music sucks. She does like my music. I just had her say this one day when we were at the dinner table, and it was just funny. I told her to say it. "Cow, you suck." And then that's me laughing in the background. But dry, it sounds like this. "Cow, you suck." With some reverb, Valhalla. "Cow, you suck." This golden plate preset is pretty nice. Tweak it a little bit. And then, yeah, you get this. "Cow, you suck." I got hope now. So let's take out my vocals, and this is what we have here. This snare is really nice. So that's the hi-hats mixed with this bass. This is what sets the tone for everything. Un-EQ'd, sounds nice already. This VST is free. Ample makes some great VSTs. I use them in a lot of my songs. Bass guitar is sweet. Kick, snare, and then the Dr. Dre Synth. This sounds cool. Pitched up a little bit. And then once you get to, then there's some effects here. Once you get to the verse, the hi-hats are taken away, and that's a pretty common thing to do, where, you know, hooks, chorus, it has to feel like it has bounce. It has to feel like, well, it doesn't have to, but usually it feels like it has bounce. There's a lot of things going on, and then when something changes, the thing that changes the rhythm the most usually are the hi-hats or some type of percussion. When something's moving really fast with the hi-hats and then suddenly you take it away, it feels like it changes, and that's why it's great for, you know, pulling away the hi-hats for a verse.
Now please don't take I ain't broke no more. Yeah.
So this part here.
I ain't broke no.
Whoops. So that, you know, so changes, and then you want it to feel like it starts to pick up, like there's energy coming up. Hi-hats are so important. Like, apart from kick, snare, vocals, and bass, the hi-hats, like, they really they create rhythm. Bass usually glues things together, you know. The kick and the snare creates kind of like what cadence, what tempo it needs to feel like. But the hi-hats are what really creates a bounce, the rhythm that just like starts to make you move and, you know, nod your head a little bit. All right, so there's that. And then, you know, while this is going on, the sample is playing on repeat throughout the whole thing. And that sample, all it is it's EQ'd a bit. You know, highs brought down a bit, lows cut, and then this is what it sounds like without the EQ. It just quiets it a little bit, creates some space. When I make the samples, I already think about it a little bit in that sense, where I EQ it a little bit, cut out the low end, create some space in the mids where I know my vocals are gonna go. And because I'm creating these samples for myself, you know, I kind of know where my voice is gonna fit in, so that's already built in. But sometimes I EQ it a little bit more. And then this is a pre-chorus. So the pre-chorus, I take away the hi-hats again. And that creates space, you know, to build up some tension before going back into the chorus. So you can see here that a lot of the chorus, verse, so much of that stuff is controlled by hi-hats.
Prints all on my resume. Yeah, so let me take this time to thank you to the ones that help you push through, to the ones that came through and stay true. May you bask in the glory of the life that you choose. Do you pursue?
Right. So it comes back in.
You pursue. I got hope now. I'm doing all the things that I wrote down. I'm feeling myself with my own sound. But the best thing of all is I ain't broke no more. Yeah, I got hope now.
All right. Verse number 2, same thing. Everything is very similar.
Now I came from the jungle.
And this I Believe in You, Bro, that's my little cousin TJ.
I believe in you, bro.
And you can see there's some processing on it. If it's dry, it sounds like this.
I believe in you, bro.
With a fruity delay, bounces it, panning, probably like 71%. Ping pong.
I believe in you, bro.
And it's those little things, you know. What else? There's some percussion stuff going on up here. These little tiny tidbits, ear candy. But you know, you can see here that the beat is relatively simple. You know, the sample isn't changing very much. What really drives and carries the song are the vocals. And in a rap song, the lyrics, you know, that's where your attention really should be going to. Or when a producer is writing something like this, the listener's attention should be going to the vocals and what the artist is saying. And then to break out, you know, the different verses using hi-hats, transitions like this.
I believe in you, bro.
Right here. You know, not a ton of like cymbals and stuff here like I usually do, but you know, sometimes you don't need cymbals for transitions. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. It's quite straightforward, but let me show you the mixing for my vocals.
Pursue. I got hope now. I'm doing all the things that I wrote down.
All right, so let's go here.
I hope now.
So if I take off all the vocals, it sounds pretty bad, or all of the effects.
I hope now. I'm doing all the things that I wrote down. I'm feeling myself with my own sound. But the best thing of all is I ain't broke no more.
So you can see it's quiet. It's uneven. You can't hear it from just that, but it's uneven throughout the song. And, you know, this mic is nice. This Audio Technica AT2020 is nice, but, you know, I bought it for like, at the time, it was like $150. Now it's like $95. You can get it on sale on Amazon for like $99 or something. And, you know, it's a great mic for what it is, but in order to get studio quality sounds, a studio quality, the perception that it's studio quality, there were some things that I had to kind of finagle, you know, that I had to do it with software instead of hardware. And the way I did that is this here. So let me see. I can turn on the effects again, and then I can just do I'll start with a limiter.
I hope now. I'm doing all the things that I wrote down. I'm feeling myself with my own sound.
And that just evens it out a little bit. And then this vocal rider is what rides. Basically, it's manually software controlled, but it's manually pulling down the volume up and down.
I hope now. I'm doing all the things that I wrote down. I'm feeling myself.
Okay, and then there's another limiter on top of that. And this limiter, I'm using the compression. I'm not actually limiting.
I hope now. I'm doing all the things that I wrote down.
So these three items that I just showed you, those are still just for leveling out the sound. And then the CLA2A stereo compressor, I've talked about this before. It adds warmth. It does the same thing as the the other three instruments, but it does it in a way that gives it warmth. So the algorithm is just a little bit different. But the thing is, when I'm using this, I'm not necessarily using it for the volume control. I'm using it for the sound that it produces, the nice, warm, kind of like a little bit distorted sound that I get from it.
I hope now I'm doing all the things that I wrote down.
So it's a little bit louder, EQ a little bit more. I pulled out some of the frequencies, about 459 hertz and 257 hertz. I pulled those out because it's with this mic, I get a little nasally in that area. There's some booming in my voice that, that really peaks out right there.
I hope now I'm doing all the things that I wrote down.
So now it's sculpted, and this JJP, the Jack Joseph Puig plugin, is really what adds that glimmer, that shine. I used to have to try to do this with so many other plugins. I would throw a de-esser on here. I would throw in different types of reverbs, delays, phasers, chorus. There's so many different things that I tried to do to try to get my voice to sound the way that I wanted. And then suddenly I found this. I think I had mentioned before, it was from a tutorial with Mesto and Jonas Aiden, and they were using this plugin. They were just using the default, and putting this with the CLA2A is like, that's the bread and butter. It changed this AT2020 mic into something that was usable, and it actually sounded really nice.
I hope now I'm doing all the things that I wrote down. I'm feeling myself with my own sound.
So there's that. So that really takes it to, that level of sound that I was looking for. But what really adds a bit of like that extra, the little like icing on top is routing it to another track. And then on that track, adding a few things like, let me see here. So I added a doubler.
I hope now I'm doing all the things that I wrote down.
Barely noticeable. Added a pitcher.
I hope now I'm doing all the things that I wrote down.
And this little altar boy is the biggest thing here.
I hope now I'm doing all the things that I wrote down.
And again, I'll do this as an example. So let's see, 41. I'll turn it up.
I hope now I'm doing all the things that I wrote down. I'm feeling myself with my own sound. But the best thing of all is I ain't broke no more. Yeah.
So that really fills in the space that my voice can't fill in. And then delay.
I hope now I'm doing all the things that I wrote down.
Pushing it from left to right. A little tiny touch of reverb.
I hope now I'm doing all the things that I wrote down.
And that's, that is the closest I've ever gotten for my voice to sound nice. I'm like, okay, it fits nicely in the track. And I'm really happy with it.
Pursuit. I got hope now. I'm doing all the things that I wrote down. I'm feeling myself with my own sound.
All right. And then, let's see, for the master. So this is another one of my project files where it's not super organized. It's not really named super well, but what I wanted to do in 2020 when I was kind of cooped up inside and I had a lot more time, and I was trying to put these songs in the bank, the 52 songs, I was focusing a lot more on completion and finishing, making finishing an actual habit versus getting caught up in organization. And FL Studio is not great for organization. I love this program. I've used it since it was Fruity Loops. But it is not really, it's not that great when it comes to organization. It gives you almost too many options. I'm used to it now. I love it. But at the same time, for someone that's new, you jump into something like Ableton, and Ableton just feels like it works. Logic is the same way. Logic is a bit more intuitive. But FL Studio, I think FL Studio is probably one of the most powerful DAWs. There's things you can do in here that you can't do in other DAWs. But when I say DAW, I mean digital audio workstation. But, to each their own, whatever gets the job done. So in my master channel here, I got the traditional cut of I think it's like 30 hertz here, and then let me see, what is it, 18 kilohertz. So those are cut because you can't hear those frequencies and they just take up space. I use a EQ sometimes for just gain, increasing the volume. RC20, I don't have it on right now. This reverb and Edison, I was just using it to do some reverse reverbs. I don't know if you can actually hear it or why it's not playing. Wow, yeah. Oh, maybe because of this. Yeah, so that is basically this reversed.
I got hope.
Yeah. So that's a pretty common trick. I've shown it in my last video. You basically take the beginning of the part that you want to lead up to, take it, solo it, add super long reverb tail, record that, and then reverse it. All right, and then soft clipper, and then limiter. That's it. I can do soft clipping in this limiter, turning down the attack, release, sustain, all of that. But for me, it just works in my mind a bit better when I'm just when I just have a soft clipper going into the limiter. But yeah, that's it. So that is the song. Let me see if there's anything else I'm missing.
And I hope that in heaven you can see the.
Oh, I also write lyrics in here. Let me see if I use this fruity notebook and I write it in here, and then I copy and paste it out into, Evernote or wherever else. But I do the work in here sometimes because, when you're working, you don't want to have a bunch of different things going on, different programs. To have it all in one place is really nice. It's not a great editor. It's pretty bare bones, but sometimes that's a good thing. Yeah, okay. I hope you guys enjoyed, learned something new. Feel free to subscribe and hit the notification bell. I'm on song 8. Next week is song 9 out of 52. The Russ experiment is going pretty well. After 3 months, so at the end of March, I will post an analytics update to show you guys how many followers I've gotten, how many subs, how many views, things like that. And then just show you guys, be as transparent as possible and show you guys if this is working or if it's not, because, you have a lot of music marketers out there that haven't done anything, but then they tell you not to release a song a week, or they tell you how to release music or what you need to do on social media and things like that, but they haven't really done anything themselves. So me being the guinea pig here and doing it this way, I think is the best way to at least have anecdotal experience. And then after a year, I can make a video that says I released a new song every single week for a year straight. This is what happened. And it could be good, it could be, maybe you didn't do anything in today's environment, but we'll see. So all right, have a good one. Go listen to Hope. It's on all platforms, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.